I'm telling him that it's important to realize I come from Latin America. In Latin America, those of us who grew up in these countries, if they had fathers like I did or grandfathers like you did, they tell us the stories of some of the things that happened in Latin America. The CIA is Latin America. The U.S. Marines are Latin America. They went into those countries and decided that under the Platt Amendment and the Monroe Document, they would essentially just rule Latin America and tell it what to do. Today, Latin America is going through, I guess, a little bit of an awakening. It's a little bit different. It's interesting, your country, for example, is trying to fight through some of that and through the hardships that took place throughout Central America during the Reagan administration and other times. How is Latin America adapting the BRICS message to make sure people hear it and make them compare it, hopefully favorably, to the horrible experience they've been left with from the United States of America and others through colonialism?
Bueno, quisiera también hacer un poco de referencia a algunos puntos que mencionaste anteriormente. Decías, ¿qué sentimos nosotros que en Estados Unidos, Europa, la mayoría de la gente ni siquiera sabe qué son los BRICS? Creo que estás poniendo una cuestión demasiado sofisticada, porque la mayoría de la población de Estados Unidos no sabe dónde está Canadá. Entonces, creo que sí, hay que reconocer que los BRICS han tenido un éxito importante, porque si no, no estuvieran los ataques permanentes del gobierno estadounidense, de los gobiernos europeos, contra este bloque que viene tomando cada vez más fuerza. Y yo quiero también reiterar que nosotros hemos sufrido la intervención estadounidense prácticamente desde que Nicaragua es república. Tuvimos un presidente autoproclamado, un invasor estadounidense, William Walker, en los años 1800, cuando Nicaragua acababa de tener su independencia, y luego hemos tenido la intervención de Estados Unidos permanentemente en nuestro país y la defensa de nuestra soberanía a partir de la lucha de Sandino, de la lucha de la revolución, y después, por supuesto, la guerra de los años 80, que fue impuesta por Estados Unidos, por Reagan, y ahora, desde el año 2007, que nuestro presidente, el comandante Daniel Ortega, retorna al gobierno, el ataque permanente de Estados Unidos, de Europa, contra nuestro proyecto político, que culminó incluso en un intento de golpe de Estado en el año 2018. Y quiero reiterar eso, que es importante, porque los medios de comunicación fueron especialmente atacados durante ese intento de golpe de Estado. Medios de comunicación fueron quemados, trataron de asesinar a los periodistas nicaragüenses, y todo eso con la complicidad, el apoyo financiero también de Estados Unidos, de Europa, y la complicidad de los medios dominados por esos intereses que trabajaban en Nicaragua. Eso es algo sumamente importante, que yo quiero traerlo también a esta mesa, que estamos hablando de estos medios que son lo que se considera mainstream, como dicen, o también ahora lo llaman los legacy media también en Estados Unidos. Y esos medios que se habían instalado en nuestros países, en toda América Latina, recordemos que han sido históricamente financiados por USAID, por la CIA, y eso ha sido puesto a la luz por nosotros desde el principio, pero también ahora por el mismo gobierno estadounidense, con Doge, con todo este esfuerzo que estaba haciendo Elon Musk y todo lo que salió ahí.
Pero déjame hacerte esta pregunta: ¿cómo es posible ahora que el pueblo suyo o el pueblo de cualquier país en América Latina va a aceptar China, Rusia o cualquier otro país que viene ahí sin pensar nos van a hacer las mismas cosas que nos hicieron los gringos?
Precisamente porque lo estamos viviendo. Tenemos una cooperación sumamente activa con Rusia, especialmente en temas de...
By the way, my question was, what do you tell your people in Latin America who say, yeah, I remember the last time an empire came in here, the Spanish and the Americans, and they basically hosed us and took advantage of us, abused us, took our treasures, and killed many of us, like in Guatemala during the Civil War where some 200,000 people died. So how do the people of Latin America now look at Russia and China and then any of these other countries that come in there saying we want to help you and not say, yeah, right, you're going to do the same thing the gringos did?
I would say we just put it into practice, not only words. We're working with Russia, we're working with China, and cooperation is based on mutual respect, and cooperation is for development projects. Cooperation is for health projects. Cooperation is for infrastructure that we're working with China. And we're working also with Chinese media group, with CGTN, with Russia Today, with Sputnik, for the strengthening of the capacities of the Nicaraguan media institutions. And for
are the people buying into that, though? Are the people of Nicaragua buying into China and Russia? Do you believe? Your people.
Yeah, surveys go over 80% of Nicaraguan population support Nicaragua's work with China and Russia.
That's interesting.
And yeah, it's quite positive because the work is there. I mean, with Russia, we have built the first institute to produce vaccines for flu. That's something that no other country in Central America has. So every flu vaccine that we have in Nicaragua is produced by Nicaraguan company, which is Mechnikov Institute of Latin America. And with China, we're building infrastructure projects, we're building roads, we're building energy. So it's basically development projects, development programs. And never have we had from Russia, from China, any imposition. So this is why it's so different from what the experience that we have had with the United States and with Europe historically. I wanted to say one more thing.
Of course.
You mentioned YouTube, the podcasts, as this new wave of alternative and some might call more independent media. Mm-hmm. But they all have an agenda. I mean, you mentioned Joe Rogan. He endorsed Trump. So they all have an agenda. We cannot buy into...
But did you want him to endorse Biden?
If he's independent, he should have endorsed anyone.
I see your point. Yeah, and it's a good one.
We shouldn't buy into them being independent. They all have an agenda. So this is why we must remain strong and keep close cooperation with our good friends, China, Russia. We have corporations also with Hispan TV from Iran. So we have to keep this close connection, close communications, because we have to be very clear-minded that sure, media has to be as objective as possible, but you have to promote what's right, what's fair, and we believe that we are on that path.
Your point is well taken, and you speak very well on it. Let me get to you, Gamal. We haven't had a chance to talk about, obviously, the elephant in the room is what's going on right now in Iran.